This has been narrating a short biography of one of the lesser-known presidents. When James Buchanan placed his hand on the Bible in March of 1857, the storm clouds had already gathered. The Union he swore to preserve was uneasy, divided, and bristling with mistrust. Buchanan was not a man of beginnings, he was a man of conclusions, the last president before the nation broke apart, and one of the most tragic figures ever to occupy the office. Born in 1791 in rural Pennsylvania, Buchanan rose through diligence, discipline, and caution. He was a skilled lawyer, a seasoned diplomat, and a master of political survival. By the time he reached the presidency, he had served as a congressman, a senator, a secretary of state, and a minister to both Russia and Great Britain. Few men had arrived better prepared, and few would prove so unequal to the moment. A lifelong bachelor, Buchanan prized order, decorum, and stability. He disliked confrontation and believed that careful adherence to the Constitution could soothe even the deepest national wounds. His election in 1856 coincided with the crumbling of the old political order. The Whig Party was gone. The new Republican Party alarmed the South. Buchanan, a Democrat with Southern sympathies but Northern roots, seemed a safe compromise, a man who could calm the waters. But the waters would not be calmed. Almost immediately after his inauguration, the Supreme Court issued the Dred Scott decision, ruling that Congress had no authority to prohibit slavery in the territories, and that enslaved people had no rights citizens were bound to respect. Buchanan, who had privately pressured the court for a sweeping decision, welcomed the ruling, believing it would settle the slavery question once and for all. Instead, it ignited fury across the North and hardened Southern resolve. In Kansas, violence flared as pro-slavery and anti-slavery factions battled for control. Rather than allowing a fair settlement, Buchanan supported the Lecompton Constitution, a deeply flawed pro-slavery document rejected by Kansas voters. His stance shattered his own party and discredited his leadership. Even Stephen Douglas, once an ally, broke with him publicly. As sectional tensions rose, Buchanan retreated further into legalism. He insisted that secession was illegal, yet also argued that the federal government had no constitutional power to stop it. This contradiction would define his presidency, a belief that something was wrong paired with a conviction that nothing could be done. When Abraham Lincoln won the election of 1860, the crisis reached its breaking point. Southern states began to secede one by one. Buchanan watched, protested, wrote letters, and pleaded, but he did not act. Federal forts and arsenals in the South fell into Confederate hands. The Union dissolved before his eyes, while he clung to the hope that compromise or time might save it. The most dramatic moment came at Fort Sumter, where Union troops sat isolated in Charleston Harbor. Buchanan refused to reinforce them, fearing it would provoke war. In trying to avoid conflict, he ensured it. By the time Buchanan left office in March 1861, 7 Southern states had seceded, the Confederate government was formed, and the nation stood on the brink of war. He handed his successor a shattered republic and a loaded gun. After retirement, Buchanan spent his remaining years defending his record, insisting history would vindicate him. It never did. He died in 1868, a lonely figure, burdened by the knowledge that the catastrophe he feared had come to pass. History judges James Buchanan harshly, not for malice, but for paralysis. He believed deeply in the Constitution, but failed to see that it sometimes demands courage as well as caution. Where the moment called for leadership, he offered restraint. Where it demanded resolve, he offered hope. He did not cause the Civil War, but he did little to prevent it. And in the long, painful reckoning of American history, that absence of action has spoken louder than any speech he ever made.